What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Jab Queen Boxer, and we are back for yet another one. Make sure you smash that like button on your way in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. Don't forget I am live Thursday and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. So let's go ahead and get into it, baby. So I was on X, just keeping up with some news, seeing what's going on. Listen to what I heard.
All guys really just went to they both just really stopped. So when no quit that day. But that day Tank was bloody. He was bloody, real deal blood all over my son's shirt the first day. So now Monday they said Mustafa Jim, and when y'all asked him about it, they said Mustafa Jim. Come Tuesday, he called Mustafa back. Yeah, man, he was up late, he was drinking, he was partying, he come back his excuses. Wednesday, he said we want to spar tomorrow. Cool. So now it's really on, nigga. You coming back with your get back, whatever. He walks in and he says, I'm not leaving here till I break that nose. That's what he said to my son. We walk in the door. That's the day the nigga quit, got out the ring, didn't say shit. Now, let me give y'all something you don't know. You can go look. He had a fight coming up. The nigga went to Twitter and said he had a hand injury. Then everybody went, oh, champ, what happened? What happened? Oh, man, ain't nothing wrong with my hand, man. He started showing x-rays where his hand was fine. That was his excuse for why he got out the ring and just quit.
Okay, so now, full disclosure, I'm not sure when he originally spoke on this, but I'm assuming it just resurfaced yesterday, about a day or so ago. Now, he did say that Gervonta was 22 and Brian Norman Jr. was 16. Now, I'm assuming this is some sort of promotion for Brian Norman Jr.'s upcoming fight in November with Devin Haney. Um, my only question is, and I've discussed this on my panel with some of my panelists. Sparring. Talking about sparring and leaking sparring footage has just become a thing lately. We're really not sure why, but it's been happening, right? I also posed the question: does sparring tell a story? Right? I am of the belief that it can. When you get in the ring with somebody, if they're levels above you, you know what you have to work on, in the event that you are in a fight with someone, who fights like the style you are sparring against. That's what it's for, to sharpen your skills, hopefully. But I guess, why are we bringing Tank into this? I'm not sure why, right? Um, he proceeds to say that, his son got the best of Tank. We all know that Tank is the most beat up ninja ever in sparring, according to a lot of these boxers, right? Here's my problem with all this. If this was so many years ago, right, why didn't you just use a more recent sparring session if you're going to bring up sparring at all? Why not use a more recent one with someone that you got also good work with, someone that, is closer to the here and now, instead of going back to when Gervonta was 22? I believe he's, 30, 31 now? So I'm just not really sure what the point of that was. And your son is what, at 147? So that's what, three weight divisions above Gervonta Tank Davis. So I mean, if that is in fact what happened, then okay. I mean, I just really don't understand the point of that. And y'all know my pet peeve. I hate when a lot of these boxers and boxing dads alike have to use somebody else's name to build their son's name up. I think that Brian Norman Jr.'s talents and skills speak for themselves. I don't really think he needs to rope anybody else into it. Your son's last performance on its own should be bringing you enough steam and enough eyes to where you can kind of just capitalize on that and move forward and discuss your future fight coming with Devin. Going back about 7-8 years to a sparring session with the face of boxing, I'm really not sure what he's looking to gain off of that. I guess he's trying to say that if there was an actual fight that his son could beat Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm not really sure. Your son's at 147, Gervonta's at 135, so it's kind of like that'll never happen, right? Their weight classes apart. Gervonta's not going up to 147. I'm assuming your son cannot shrink himself down to 135, so the whole conversation to me was just pointless. However, he does have a fight coming up in November with Devin Haney, and hopefully he's focused. Hopefully he's in the gym. I do know that Brian Norman Jr. He does stay in the gym from what I've been hearing. He does he is a gym rat, so that's a good thing. He's going to need to make sure that he practices, his footwork and different things so that he's ready for his fight against Devin Haney. Although Devin Haney, to me, is obviously we know he's not a knockout artist. He hasn't had a knockout or a knockdown or anything like that in like 6 years, I believe, since 2019. But his footwork work, along with him working his jab and going to the body, could cause issues for Brian Norman. So I think that's something that he needs to focus on moreover than focusing on something that happened about 6, 7 years ago. I guess he wants the bragging rights or the rights to say that he got down on the Gervonta Tank Davis in sparring. Getting him ready for another fight on the big stage. So if this is in fact true, I mean, kudos to you. I'm not really sure, once again, what he's looking to gain from this besides, clout chasing off of Gervonta Tank Davis. Stuff like this kind of just annoys me. I really just wish some of these guys would just stand on their own and kind of, build their own legacy without tying themselves to other guys, because these other guys could go on to not look so great. And then you done tied yourself to them for all the time. It's like, and you can't keep saying, oh, look, what this person did to him, I do to them, because we don't know that. Styles makes fights. You know what I mean? Just the same way as Auntie Sko, when he mentioned about Abdullah Mason. Obviously, we saw the footage. We realized that that was not the truth. However, why are you attaching yourself to Abdullah Mason? Y'all brung his name up first. They said nothing about you. Abdullah Mason does not say anything about any boxers because he doesn't have to. He gets in the ring, he lets his hand speak for himself, and he moves on to handle business that is next on his plate for him to handle. And I barely ever see him doing stuff like this. I don't see Gervonta Tank Davis doing stuff like this. These are fighters that rarely, if ever, mention other boxers' names unless they are asked about them. But for whatever reason, some of these fathers and boxers alike just can't keep these other guys' names out of their mouth. And I can't help but wonder why. If you are everything you say you are, you don't need to mention another person's name. You don't need to clout chase other boxers if you yourself are really him. So, those are just my thoughts on what I heard. Again, right now, as of right now, I haven't heard anything different. He will be facing Devin Haney on the undercard of David Benavidez and Anthony Yard. So we will stay tuned to that. Continue checking your notifications all week. This is the Shakur Stevenson's fight week, as well as the all women's card. So I will be dropping content all week regarding both topics. We did have a brief discussion on my last live Saturday about Shakur and Zepeda. More or less, it was geared towards, how the sale of the tickets are doing and how we think the outcome of the fight will be. We can circle back to that. The fight is Saturday. I will be live Saturday. It will be a short live simply because I know that people are going to want to watch that card, myself included. Thursday, we will go over briefly some of the women on the women's card that will air on Friday to see how we think that they will do in their competition. I know this week they have weigh-ins, and I believe they have open workouts, things of that nature coming up. So content will be coming soon. Make sure you have your notifications on. Again, guys, make sure you smash that like button. If you are not subbed to the channel, make sure you sub to the channel. I will be live Thursday at 5:30. Until then, y'all know what to do. Catch me on a panel.